welcome. I'm Daniel.
I'm Andrew. We're brothers, and this is the Daniel and Andrew Show,
where we give our opinions about TV and movies about sharks that we've been watching lately. So, Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I'm just hanging out at home. This week was my birthday, big 26, so no health insurance. I had a good week this week. I did something on Tuesday because my actual birthday was on Tuesday, and I saw Gran Turismo. But that comes out in a couple weeks. I saw an early screening, so we could talk about it then. But so I did that, and then I'm going to do something later today, have dinner, and hang out with some friends. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I had a good week this week. Did you do anything fun this week?
I did watch a couple different things. I did finish Secret Invasion.
Oh, and
it was pretty much garbage. Not gonna lie.
Garbage, huh?
The espionage was so bad and hysterical, and if you thought about anything for like more than 2 seconds, it wouldn't make any sense.
You don't like having a whole like tomb for his eye patch?
Yeah, and then he for some reason had like his eye patch behind one like
yeah,
one person would be, and then had his gun in a totally separate one.
Yeah. Yep.
When that box was definitely big enough to fit all of his stuff.
No, absolutely not. You have to have a whole mausoleum for each. You know, one sock. His left sock was in one. His right sock was in another one. His left glove. Yeah, I don't understand. There is some goofy stuff in that. Yeah, it's definitely one of the worst shows, if not the worst one that they've made.
Yeah,
I like Sam Jackson. I like Ben Mendelsohn. Not that big of a fan of Emilia Clarke, to be honest. I haven't seen her other than Game of Thrones. She's not.
I like Emilia Clarke too, but it just not this TV show is not good.
She's in this. She's in Terminator Genesis. She doesn't have a really good track record. Outside of
seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So, yeah. I don't know. I watched it, and it's been a couple weeks now, and I honestly had forgotten about it. So, yeah, it's weird.
It was just really boring too. Lots of scrolls and stuff, and I just don't care. And they're like supposed to be like super secretive scroll like, and then they'll literally just kill people and they just leave their body in the woods, even though it would turn into like a scroll. And someone would have seen it. It's like someone would know that there's scrolls on this planet in the last 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's super weird that they took a comic storyline that was very big storyline that really impacted the whole like universe in comics, and they made this into like a show that was basically a throwaway, like and it makes Captain Marvel even stupider, and people already don't like that movie, so why would you do like the whole point of that movie was to find, to bring the scrolls in and everything, and then it's just like, and here's the payoff to that. Like, it's like really dumb. Yeah,
Yeah.
they ruined a couple characters that could have been interesting. They kind of just threw them away or have very bad endings for them. Yeah, that was a weird show. Yeah, I would give that like a 4 or a 5. That show.
I don't even. Yeah, probably a 4 for me as well. But
Yeah, below average.
yeah, that's. I watched it. I didn't watch all of Miss Marvel, but at least Miss Marvel had like somewhat of a cohesive plot. But
I thought Miss Marvel was much better than this show. Except for the only thing I don't like about Miss Marvel is the last episode. For some reason, they can't like end any of these shows coherently.
I think I watched that one. I don't know. Nothing about that show interested me either, but at least that one kind of at least hit what it was going for. I feel like this one just fell flat on its face.
Yeah. Well, we also watched the end of the first season of The Bear, and
Yeah.
I think that show ended nicely. At least the first season. We haven't watched the second season yet, but good show so far.
Mhm.
I heard the second season is not as good, so we'll see. There's some dark stuff in that, and then there's some I've laughed good amount of times with the show as well. So, I think that's worth a watch for sure. I think anybody who's been in like a food industry will also kind of like that. Will like that show. But
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. Yeah, I watched some other stuff too. I watched The Outlaws on Netflix.
oh yes, I meant to watch that, but I never got around to it. It's like Netflix is doing this thing where they have like this weird action movie that they like pump for a couple weeks, and then they're like, all right, now dump that one and move on to the next action movie to pump.
That's always how they happen.
Yeah. Well, like now they're onto that Gal Gadot one, but this one was the one that they were pumping before, which is the Outlaws. I thought about watching it because I like Pierce Brosnan. That's the only reason. Don't care about the guy from Workaholics or whatever. I'm sure that's probably why you were interested. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I won't spoil nothing. It was pretty decent. Like it wasn't like amazing, but it was still a funny enough watch, I'd say.
all right. Well, I guess I'll have to check it out. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna watch that by myself, but maybe. Who knows? I've watched comedies by myself though, so
Yeah. We watched Click as well.
well, we've seen that before.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I'd say that one was better than The Outlaws. So.
Okay, well, maybe not the big highest bar, but yeah. I like Click. I think it's not the worst one he's made. That's for sure. I watched a little bit of Happy Gilmore. We did some grilling yesterday, and I just found something to watch, and it was on TV, and it was like right after Chubbs, moved on, and they're playing in the final game or whatever. It's pretty funny. The guy Shooter McGavin. I've seen him in several things. He's also in Secret Invasion, and he's just Shooter McGavin to me. I don't even know what the guy's name is.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was in Secret Invasion. He's also in this show Hacks that I like, and I was just like, oh my god, it's Shooter McGavin.
I'd
Um,
have to watch Happy Gilmore again, but I think I like Click better than Happy Gilmore. So
I think that I watched because I was watching it, and some of the jokes are so cringe, but lots of them are like kind of that time. I think there's really good stuff. You have that, you like Ben Stiller's in that, and he's like in the retirement home or whatever with like that is hilarious, and tapping in and all that stuff. It's a good movie. I think it has more. I think that it outweighs the Click on just the jokes that are funny that endure. Can't think of anything from Click that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was hilarious, and I'm gonna remember that forever.
Christopher Walken is really funny in that movie.
Yeah. I will say the stuff. I think Dustin Hoffman plays his dad, right? In Click.
Yeah.
That is what I remember about Click.
It actually ends up being pretty sad ending.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they kind of fix it at the end, but I don't know.
It was different. It's different than what he usually does. I like that that stuff with Dustin Hoffman is the stuff I remember. Not really the jokes, but it is what it is. I don't think that's a bad movie. Yeah. So
there's his boss, the
Hasselhoff.
guy. Yeah.
Anything else that you watched?
That was everything.
All right. So I watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure again because Paul Rubens passed away, who played Pee-wee. That was one of his characters. And they were showing it in theaters again. I didn't get out to the theater to watch it, but I watched it again because he passed away. That is a really good movie. And Tim Burton directed that. I think that's his first like feature film that he directed. That's a really good movie. I forgot how much I liked that movie, and it was weird because Paul Rubens passed away, and I was like, all I knew was Pee-wee. Like I don't really remember him in anything else, but I forgot how much I liked Pee-wee because there's a sequel which is not very good, and then they made one like years later on Netflix, which was very bad. But I watched it because I liked Pee-wee, Tequila and stuff like that. That song Tequila, it's a good song. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen it?
Once a million years ago, and I literally can't remember a single thing from it. So I know he rides a bike or something.
Yeah. His bike gets stolen, and that's what starts the adventure. I would say give it a watch if you haven't seen it in a while. I think it's a good movie.
Okay.
Well, you watch stupid stuff all the time, so if you tell me Click's a good movie, you can watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Started watching Arcane. I thought it was fine. That's really all I got to say about that. I think it looks nice. Oh,
yeah, we didn't even finish the third episode, but
I watched this. Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes. It was a good start, I think.
Well, I told you they're like in 3 episode arcs.
Yeah, so, well, I wasn't because that was going to be like over 2 hours. It's because they're like 45 minutes episodes. So
yeah, it's like a very long movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel like it, and I wasn't like 100% invested, so didn't want to do another episode. I will say the best part of that show for me so far is the theme song. I was like,
it is a good theme song.
Enemy by Imagine Dragons is the theme. I should have been watching this show earlier. And they kind of like switch it up on that song. I like that song. That's a good song. All right. So we were talking about Adam Sandler. How about a movie with Adam Sandler's daughters as the leads, pulling into the trailer trade? Oh my gosh, why, why are these things happening? Why I don't. He's just trying to force his daughters in into the biz, so to speak.
What show are you talking about? Is there a movie or something?
I sent 3 trailers. You are so not invited to my bar mitzvah.
Um, I didn't watch that one.
You didn't watch that one. Okay, well, I'll explain it for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Adam Sandler and Idina Menzel are playing a husband and wife, and Adam Sandler's daughters are like the leads in the movie. One of his daughters is like the lead, like the main girl. She plays a character where her best friend, they're like teenagers, and like her best friend is starts hanging out with this guy that she likes, and she gets upset about it, and says, "You're not my friend anymore." Yeah, and says she's not invited to her bat mitzvah, which I guess is a big deal, I guess, for them. So it's his whole family, him, his 2 daughters, and his wife are all in the movie.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be a good movie somehow.
I don't know. I laughed a couple times, but the only reason I laughed is he had some jokes in it, and I laughed at those, and then everything else I did not care. So we'll see.
Well, that's better than some trailers.
What trailers did you see?
I saw The Continental.
All right. Did you see anything else?
Yeah, I saw the other one.
All right. Well, let's talk about that one because it's also a comedy. We could move on to another comedy here.
Yeah, Vacation.
Vacation Friends 2.
Yeah, was there a first one or
There was, and it was bad.
was it the same people too?
Yep, same 4.
Oh, I've literally never heard of this movie.
It's on Hulu. Maybe that's why you never seen it. I would say it is so dumb. The only reason I'm pretty sure that they made another one is because John Cena is in it and he's being so ridiculous. I think that's why even the first one was made.
No, I'm not the biggest John Cena fan.
Yeah, I can't believe that they made a second one. It must have did really well on Hulu because it's not very good.
I mean, from what I saw, it doesn't look very good.
Yeah, it's incredibly raunchy, ridiculous stuff. Sometimes I like that, but I don't know. You got an addition of Steve Buscemi in this one, which I like him, but doesn't mean it's going to make it better. So I don't know. That is not. It's weird seeing random movies getting sequels that I wouldn't assume would have had a sequel. But you know, whatever.
Yeah, there's probably better movies that were comedies that was there a sequel than that.
Right. So we'll see. All right, let's talk about the Continental. Looks good.
Yeah.
You know, I love me some disco. I like the 70s. I'm cool with Shining Star playing over my trailers. That's honestly probably what kept me invested. And, the action is action. I know that there's action coming. It's a John Wick
It
prequel.
looks good for a TV show. I was kind of worried that it wouldn't.
Oh, I'm sure they weren't going to put no effort into it or anything, but I don't know. The only name in it is Mel Gibson. That doesn't, really get me going. But we'll see.
I mean, I don't think it needs a name. The name John Wick is big enough now.
Yeah. And this is supposed to be young Ian McShane's character, so we'll see.
We just kind of saw what the story's actually about.
Yeah, well,
it seems interesting enough.
It's just basically how he took over the Continental, so I think we know how that's going to end.
Well, yeah, he's not going to die.
It's a 3-part event. That's not that was not my understanding. I thought it was going to be like a episodic TV show, not like it says 3-part event. So I guess it'll just be 3 chunks.
Sounds like it'll just be a long movie, essentially.
It's probably what you think 1 hours,
probably something like that,
like almost a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll watch it. It's probably just like a prequel movie, basically. So, cool. All right. I only have one bit of news that I thought was interesting. So they're making HBO there's a comedy series that they're making. It's called The Franchise. And it will be not parodying, but satire, I guess, about like superhero universe movies. So it's making fun of those and like the MCU and the DC universe. Aya Cash from The Boys. She was the one that was bad in the second season. She was, I forgot what her name was. Lightning one, yeah. Stormfront. That's right. Stormfront and what? And then this other guy. He was in oh my gosh, what the heck was he in? Yesterday, the movie about if the Beatles never existed. And Richard E. Grant, Daniel Bruhl, Billy Magnuson are other people in the show. It's written by the plot, or what's it called, pilot was written by John Brown, who wrote on Succession and Avenue 5, which I think is the one with like the guy who was from House. It was like kind of Star Trek-y. And the thing that got me interested is that Sam Mendes directed it, the pilot. So I don't know if he would direct the rest or not. And Sam Mendes directed 1917 and Skyfall. So, so some interesting people behind the camera, and I like some of the people that would be on the show. Yeah. So,
well, definitely some potential there.
There's definitely potential there. It's obviously people know about these kind of movies at this point. You would have to be really living under a rock if you hadn't at this point. So I think
that making fun of that would just be a gold mine at this point.
Exactly. So you can talk about sky beams and people getting jacked all of a sudden and whatever. I don't know. What? You don't think sky beams was a thing? Because I do.
I don't know, or like people getting jacked part. I don't know what you're talking about.
Chris Pratt. Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh, you mean the actors? Okay.
Yeah, the actors just random, like in if you like instantaneously just become like ripped all of a sudden.
I thought you were talking about in the show we just watched, where she like just has one massive arm on her tiny body.
Oh, yeah, that's stupid. No, I think that's what really people didn't like about that show. Whatever.
Definitely a little goofy.
You're super goofy. So dumb. I don't know. There, yeah, I think it's ripe for the picking on that. There's plenty of things that they can make fun of. I like those people. There's plenty of funny people in there. It's funny because, like, a lot of those people have been in Marvel movies or superhero stuff. Akash was in The Boys. Richard E. Grant was in Loki. Daniel Bruhl was Baron Zemo in a couple Marvel things. So, yep, it looks like a dynamic and varied cast. So we'll see. Who knows? I've liked Sam Mendes' track record as of late, so hopefully he helped a lot with it.
Yeah.
It'll at least look good. But it's a comedy, so.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to talk about a shark movie?
Yeah. We're talking about Jaws.
No, but I'm pretty sure there was an anniversary of Jaws. And they were, because it was playing in theaters. Or maybe
I
they
don't
just.
think I've ever seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I guess we should watch Jaws together and then we could talk about it.
I don't know.
I haven't seen the whole thing either. I've only seen the iconic moments of the.
Yeah. I've seen those as well. So that's why I've never seen the movie, just because that wasn't exactly stellar to me.
What?
Just like shark scenes, and the it's just like, I don't know.
That was like filmmaking stuff is why people I think really like it. It was the first like I think blockbuster horror-ish movie. It was big for its time. But there's a lot of good tension. That score, of course, John Williams, fantastic score. We're talking about the Meg 2. We're not talking about Jaws. So it's called Meg to the Trench. No, the Meg to the Trench. What'd you think?
It was better than I thought it was gonna be. But I mean, I was also thinking it was gonna be like a 4 movie, so it's better than that. So
I
that's
thought
good.
this movie was the most preposterous, ridiculous, stupidest movie I've seen in a while, and I liked it. I thought this movie was really goofy. I think if you just have to immediately when you walk in there, take your brain out of your head, because most of this is not logical or even
You can't think about it at all. Yeah.
But it's a big shark movie, so prehistoric shark, supposedly still alive movie, so multiple sharks. So yeah. So you liked it, or were okay with it at least.
Yeah.
What's your rating?
Probably at like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I'm at a 6.5.
Yeah, it's definitely above average for sure. It's not a 5. It was entertaining. I don't know if we're going into spoilers right away, but I'd say the third act is just goes bonkers crazy, kind of like felt like kind of out of nowhere to me, but I didn't see the first one. Um,
Yeah. So yeah. So the first one, um, it's they're going on an expedition or whatever, and there Rainn Wilson played a character he was a eccentric guy or whatever, and he funded the program. And Jason Statham was there, and I forgot the lady's name, but the Chinese scientist, and she was like the research person, and he was like the muscle guy, I guess, and adventurous guy. But at the end of the movie, like the very end of the movie, she dies, but she has a daughter. And that's who the girl in this movie is the daughter, the same girl from the first one. And yeah, so he's kind of started taking care of her basically, and then that's where in this movie, we have he's a rich guy, I guess, and he's funding more research into the trench where the Meg came from.
mhm.
What's his name?
So he wasn't in the first one.
No, Jing Wu is the name of the actor. So this was it's financed by a Chinese company. That's why there's Chinese actors.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised about that.
Well, that's why I think the first one made as much money. There's a reason why we have the second one is because it did so well overseas. It didn't do that well here, but it's a Chinese movie, so it's probably did good enough to warrant a sequel. And I like it. I think they're fun popcorn movies, so I'm cool with it. This one was more action than the first one, I think. The first one was kind of leaned a little more on the horrorness to it than this one did. This one was more action thriller, I would say. There was some people like his character, and Jingwoo's character is kind of goofy and just kind of does stuff to do stuff. But yeah, so that was kind of the setup. They go down to the trench. They're trying to, research it more and see what's down there, and then they get stuck on the bottom of the trench. So that's a good set piece where they're walking through the trench, where everything's like bioluminescent and stuff because it's dark down there. There's no light down there, and walking through there, and then there's the big showdown at the end with the sharks and some other stuff. So there was good enough stuff, and I like Jason Statham, so I think that helps. I think if it was somebody else, it probably would have hurt it.
Yeah.
I think if it was, I don't know, someone worse than Jason Statham, I think this movie probably would be a no-go. But it's not. So, I think, let's see. There's some bad stuff about this movie. The villains are all pretty bad.
Yeah.
The lady who is just kind of mustache twirling. Her performance is laughably bad for me. And there's a guy who just kind of shows up out of nowhere. He's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I think the girl, the young girl was fine until she was just became annoying and just like, hey, don't go do this, and then she goes ahead
She
and she says,
goes and does something.
well, she
anyway.
says, I'm not gonna, I promise I won't, I promise I won't, and then she does it anyway, and it's like, what, why do you even have that scene? Just go do it.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
and she does like the worst thing possible too. So
Yeah, super weird. But yeah. Yeah, we could probably get into spoilers because there's pretty much no way to talk about it without getting into spoilers.
That helps. Yeah.
I would recommend seeing it in the theater. I think it's fun in the theater.
Yeah, it's probably not worth your money though. But
I think if you see it on a matinee, get the cheaper price or like a discount day. Because I think it's fun seeing it with a crowd. At least I had fun seeing it with a crowd because people were like laughing and stuff like that.
No, when I saw it, there was like no one in the theater. So
well, that sucks. Well, I saw it on like the first weekend, so
I saw it on the first Monday. So that's why there's no one. It was Monday. But I think I tried to even get tickets earlier just to see. It wasn't really that busy. So
yeah, I think it's worth it to see it in the theater. Fun popcorn movie. So anyway, okay, yeah. So the lady is like a partner in the research or whatever, and then it ends up she's like your villain or whatever, but she was just ridiculously goofy. Obviously she gets hers at the end, right, for turning on them.
Well, it was also really dumb because she didn't even need to go there, but she went there anyways. She could have just sent some guys. Like, why would you even go there? That was the dumbest thing you possibly could have done.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so they get down to the trench, and there's already like this big facility down there, and they're already. So the crux of it is that they are mining like this metal that is really valuable, but they literally talk about that metal one time and then they never bring it up again.
Oh. Well, it's worth billions. With a B.
They never talked about it again. Like at the end of the movie, they're all on the beach, like, all right, all in a day's work. It's like, what about all that stuff at the bottom? Yeah, it's just like changed.
It's all like blown up and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, the
sharks were eating the crap out of it, and like, what are you supposed to do with it?
I don't know. So stupid. I think it's weird that when people like introduce something like that, and then they talk about it like one time, and it's like, oh, okay, well, who cares? It's like, why you even have it then?
I don't know. It's just to explain why they were down there.
Why couldn't they just say, "Oh, I wanted to be the first one to, show all this, exploration discoveries or something"? It's like, no, it's some materials or something that it doesn't matter apparently.
Well, that's why they were there illegally, because they had to be there illegally for some reason or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then they're like, okay, we're going to leave you to die down there. And then Jason Statham's like, I'm going to suck water into my nostrils. And so I can, I can swim. The pressure doesn't affect me. It's really goofy. Like I said, if you just completely don't think about it at all and just watch it for what it is, I think it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I liked the whole, quote unquote spacewalk where they're
yep it's like they're doing it exactly like space, where there's like a barrier, like the atmosphere or something, and then you get into unknown territory. I liked that a lot. And then you had the big octopus or whatever, and you got your horror elements, and then that she's in like the
I enjoyed the whole underwater part. Like even when they get to the facility, I enjoyed it for the most part.
yeah. I thought that was good. I think the tension was really good. You were worried. You didn't know who was gonna die, other than Jason Statham, and like the lady's helmet was cracking, and you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? you know,
Yeah, that sucked. Yeah.
yeah. The effects were pretty good. I think it looked pretty good, this movie. I know some people were complaining about it, but I don't quite understand. I thought it looked pretty good for what it was. I liked watching the Meg fight the big octopus. Thought that was pretty cool. I think I like kaiju stuff, like King Kong and stuff like that.
I mean, I thought the third act was completely that just hurt the film for me. It just went crazy. There's a giant octopus. He's
a bunch of those
on a jet ski, spear fishing. Yeah. It's just so at least the beginning part of the movie somewhat felt like there was a little bit of tension and stuff, but then they just threw it all out the window. And then the one guy, I guess, who was in the first one is just like shooting dinosaurs now, and he really wasn't in the first part of the film, but then he was like part of the crew at the end. But I guess he was in the first one, so it's okay.
Pretty much all the people that lived in this movie were in the first one, I'm pretty sure. I don't think any of the people that lived were not in the first one. I could be wrong, but I think there might have been one new person. That lady, I think, that lived. I think she's the only one that's new. But yeah, the three guys and the little girl are from the first one. Cliff, what's his name? Cliff Curtis. I thought Paige Kennedy's character was funny enough. But they were kind of generic lines. He was just kind of there to go like.
For some reason, they randomly had to have the villains in a like relationship, and then she like immediately dies in like 2 seconds of them reuniting or whatever.
Yeah, first of all, it was like, the moment they said we have a mole, I knew exactly who it was because
it was in the trailer.
It's in the trailer, but also I knew it was her because I've seen her before, and she's played bad guys before. So I knew she could turn, she plays nice and then she can turn. So I knew that it was her anyway. And it was so obvious. It was like, I don't know what's going on. This is crazy. Yeah. And it's like,
we need to find the mole. And they're like, for some reason, just in like one random place in the thing. This is really weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I think I just think I'm there for the fun stuff with the sharks and the monsters and the action.
The one guy should have died in a helicopter crash. You don't survive that. That's stupid.
Oh yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, he should have died.
I forgot about that, to be honest with you.
He literally crashes a helicopter and survives. It's just dumb.
But he's like in the water, and then you see the shark coming at them, and then he's like trying to get to them fast enough.
Yeah, and you don't outrun a shark in a jet ski. That's not.
You didn't like watching people watching him like shove the propeller like through the shark.
So dumb. It would not. It wouldn't have stopped like that. It just would have slid through him, but he still would have been eaten. He
Yeah.
still just completely dead stop like that.
Yeah, he's so strong, Andrew. He's
He
so
would have
strong,
just it would have went through him, but he would have just slid right over him and like
Yeah.
completely wrecked him.
man. Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. I liked those little spears with the explosions on them. That was pretty fun.
It was cool, and even when he like pulled one out, it even made like a Shorency thing, like yeah, and it was just so goofy. But it was pretty cool to see him kill the one where he threw the spear and it like exploded, and there's like this giant chunk in the shark's head.
Yeah. Well, they got one. They have one buddy, Meg, now. So they're good.
Yeah. And then the daughter was like, okay, I'll wait in this lifeguard tower. And she never even goes to the lifeguard tower. And then, for whatever reason, I have to go save this one random person who's in the water. And I'll go out there on a surfboard. And, like, she should have been dead. Like,
Yeah. Well, we had seen that lady earlier. That was like the only person we had seen that was like on the shore or whatever. That's
she was like, I had to save the doggy.
yeah. Well, of course. How to say the dog? That's important.
I guess.
Well, you gotta. They always do that, right? Where they pick like a little dog with a big creature or whatever, or like something small against the giant whatever creature it is, right?
Yeah.
That's been done many times before, and I'm sure it'll be done again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a movie that I like. I am picking it apart, but it's not like I know what I'm getting. I knew what I was coming in for, and I got exactly what I was coming in for, if not more. And there was some actual interesting scenes in the movie, so my expectations were met. So I guess you get what you get, I guess.
Yeah. I think my final grade's going to be a high 6, but I don't think I can go to a 7 on this movie.
I think we're pretty much on the same page. It's a unique experience where we usually, when we're like pretty much have the same score, so it doesn't usually happen a lot.
I would say if you don't like these types of films, just don't waste your time. It's not like anything outside of the box or anything.
Yeah, I think if you watched it with like a group of friends or something, I think that's the
like
way.
you say about every movie.
I don't think that's 100% true.
Okay.
But you get a group of friends together at the house, and you got popcorn and everything, and you can like laugh about it, and make fun of it at the same time.
Just play a board game.
Yeah, or play a board game. That's fine. I like playing board games.
It did the same effect.
Cool. Sounds good. Just have a good night, play some board games, watch The Meg 2.
Maybe have it on in the background or something.
Yeah. Yep. That's what movies like this are made for, to have on in the background. It came out last weekend, so I'm curious. I don't know how it did box office wise. Let's see. It's wow. It's made $256 million. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Must be all overseas though.
It is a 21% domestic.
Wow.
It's made $200 million worldwide.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I'm telling you, there was like no one in my theater, and usually, especially where I am, it's almost always jam packed. So
domestic opening, 300 or not 300, 30 million dollars. China, 53 million.
yeah, China likes the kaiju movies, so that's really not surprising.
Yeah, I think like Asian countries, obviously like Japan, Godzilla and stuff like that. So I think it probably will make its money back. It's probably made for like 100 million, I would assume, something like that. But I
hope so. We'll probably, if they made it for 100 million, we'll probably see another one.
129 million. So it's probably barely gonna make its money back. Because you need to make like over 2 times your budget back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to like make a little bit of profit. But yeah,
we'll see if that warrants another one. It's still got another week or so, but it's probably a drop off.
Would you see it? Another one?
Not unless I had to review it.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Or I was like real desperate and tired of looking for a movie.
Yeah, I'd probably watch another one. Yeah, like I said, I like Jason Statham, so cool. Yeah. Cool. 2 ridiculous action movies with Jason Statham came out this year, and I liked both of them. So, actually, 3 of them. Fast X, that Guy Ritchie one, and then this one.
Okay.
Well, it's just as ridiculous as this movie, Fast X, and so.
Nah, Fast X was more ridiculous than this movie.
Sure. Okay. Whatever you say.
All right. Well, we will see you guys on the next one.
See you later.